A man is working in an office late into the night. Once he is finally done, he walks home, pondering about the lifestyle he has. Not paying attention when crossing the road, he gets hit by a truck. In another world, an old man saves a newborn from a wrecked carriage. 8 years pass, and it is revealed that the rescued child is Shin Wolford, living in the forest with his grandfather. He is already able to use magic to hunt for food. Shin has retained the memories from his world, remembering the life he had lived there. His grandfather is an old man named Merlin, who took him in as the sole survivor of a demon attack on a carriage. While raising him, Merlin taught Shin how to use magic. In addition to Merlin, Shin was raised by Melinda and Michael, who came by every now and then. 2 years later, at the age of 10, Merlin brings Shin to hunt down a demon for the first time, explaining how demons are born from creatures who fail to control their magic powers, causing them to run rampant and destroy everything around them. Shin surprises Merlin with how well he is able to use magic in a fight already, as he defeats the demon on his own. While telling that to Melinda and Michael, they wonder if he is able to understand magic to such a deep degree because he is from another world. Regardless of that, both Merlin and Melinda are fond of him, as if he were their own grandson. Eventually, Merlin decides to come clean with Shin, telling him how they are not actually related, and he only rescued him as a sole survivor of a demon attack. But Shin was already aware of that, reassuring Merlin that even knowing that he still thinks of him as his grandfather. 5 years later, a big celebration is held as Shin turns 15, becoming an adult in this world. Their acquaintances Decium, Christina, Siegfried, and Tom have come by to celebrate. During the celebration, it becomes apparent that Merlin never and Shin leave the forest before or even learn any common practices. In order to showcase what he can do, Shin opens a magical gate that brings them to a safe area where he used to practice magic with Merlin. It is clear that Shin is using modern knowledge of physics when casting his spells in order to push them to a never-before-seen level. After seeing that, Decium suggests that Shin enrolls in the Magic Academy, as that will help him learn more about the world outside of the forest and help him realize just how different he is from the other magicians. Promising that he will not try to recruit Shin as a military asset for the kingdom, Decium reveals that he is in fact the king of the Earlshide Kingdom, where they live. The reason he kept coming for visits is because he has a history with Merlin and Melinda, as the two of them saved the kingdom in the past, protecting it from a powerful demonoid, meaning a human who became a demon. Shin decides to accept the king's invitation to enlist in the Magic Academy, and together with Merlin and Melinda, they travel to the estate in the capital that was awarded to them. Upon arriving in the capital, Shin realizes how important Merlin and Melinda really are, as a huge commotion starts once they are recognized. Taking some time to look around the capital on his own, Shin runs into some bandits harassing 2 girls. Coming to their aid, he easily defeats the bandits, but once he gets a good look at the blue-haired girl, he instantly falls in love with her. The girls thank him for his help, introducing themselves as Maria and Cicely. Apparently, the two of them are also going to enlist in the Magic Academy. Maria is very enthusiastic about finding out who the grandson of Merlin and Melinda is, as there are rumors that he will be enlisting this year too. Shin decides to keep quiet about his identity, excusing himself as he leaves. After Shin is gone, it becomes apparent that Cicely is developing feelings for him. On the day of the entrance exams, Shin runs into some trouble with a stuck-up noble Kurt. Kurt decides to use his authority as a noble to threaten Shin, but gets stopped by August, who happens to be the royal prince, son of Decium. After Kurt leaves, August explains to Shin that abusing power like that is forbidden in the Magic Academy, as everyone is equal here, revealing that he is aware of who Shin is. The tests that are put in front of them are easily overcome by Shin, who aces the written exam and completely puts others to shame during the practical exam of their magic. Once the results are in, Shin is the one who scored above everyone else. Kurt is extremely unhappy with that result, as he failed to make it into the top of the class. Back at home, Shin is removing the existing enchants from the uniform given to him by the Academy, enchanting it instead with his own improved magic. As Shin was the one who scored the best results on the entrance exams, he is tasked with holding a speech in front of everyone. While doing so, it is revealed to everyone that he is in fact Merlin's grandson. Those who made it into the S class are introduced to their homeroom teacher, Alfred. After their introductions are over, Cicely and Maria, who also made it into the S class, approach Shin. They explain that some man keeps annoying Cicely, using his family power to take advantage of her. It turns out that man is Kurt, who comes to get her, furious at the fact that she is talking to another man. Shin steps in, promising to protect Cicely no matter what happens. Feeling reassured by Shin, Cicely openly refuses Kurt, asking him to leave her alone. Kurt decides to threaten her by putting pressure on her family, but August happens to be nearby as well. He puts Kurt's threats to rest, telling him he will incite the anger of the royal family if he does not stop behaving like this. In order to make sure Kurt does not do something to Cicely, Shin invites all of them to come to his place, so they could figure out what to do next. Everyone agrees, and they are joined by Julius and Thor, who are August's escorts. Back at Shin's place, he introduces his classmates to Merlin and Melinda, explaining the situation with Kurt and Cicely. Shin decides to enchant Cicely's uniform the same way he did his own. But before he can do so, Melinda puts Cicely to a test. After seeing how sincere Cicely is, Melinda is happy and relents, growing fond of the girl. In the end, Shin ends up enchanting everyone's uniforms with the same protective magic to make sure they are not jealous. In order to make sure Cicely is protected from Kurt, Shin decides to escort her to academy and back home every day, showcasing his gate magic to quickly move from one place to another. In the academy, Shin, August, Cicely, Maria, Thor, and Julius meet up for their first class. Their homeroom teacher, Alfred, shows them around the academy, telling them about the study groups that exist. Wanting to get a chance to learn from Shin instead, his classmates decide to form a study group of their own, led by Shin himself, naming it the Ultimate Magic Study Group. Kurt gets grounded by his father after he got a report about his son's behavior in the academy. Back in the academy, Shin and his classmates are talking about Kurt, saying how he changed since he started learning magic from a teacher named Strom. Apparently, Strom is an exiled teacher from the Blusphia Empire, who is always inviting students to join him in his laboratory. In the meanwhile, Strom arrives at Kurt's estate thanks to the summons of his mother. She is concerned about Kurt and knows that Strom spent a lot of time tutoring him, so she is hoping he could help him with his struggles. After ensuring the two of them will have privacy, Strom enters Kurt's room, where he uses his magic to push Kurt over the edge. Afterwards, he leaves, excited to see how well Kurt will perform. In the academy, Shin notices a hostile presence approaching them. It turns out the hostile presence is Kurt, who has become a demonoid. Shin protects everyone from Kurt's initial attack, sending them away so he can fight Kurt without them getting in his way. During their fight, Shin realizes that Kurt has not completely lost himself in the demonization process, but while he is thinking of a way to bring Kurt's magic under control, Kurt decides to blow up everything with him. Without any other options, Shin acts fast to stop the explosion, killing Kurt with his sword. Once Kurt has been dealt with, Cicely and the others return to Shin's side, impressed by his ability to take down a demonoid on his own. August explains that the appearance of a demonoid is a huge deal, as the last one that appeared was the one Merlin and Melinda had dealt with in the past. Talking it over with his classmates, Shin suggests that Kurt might have been a result of some experiment. He did not go through the demonization process in its entirety, appearing weaker than what a demonoid should be. Regardless of that, Shin is granted the First Order of Merit Medal for defeating a demonoid and protecting the kingdom by the king, Decium. The word of his achievement spread through the city, making it hard for Shin to go anywhere without attracting a crowd. In return, all of the students in the academy want to join his study club. To reduce the amount of applicants, Alfred set a standard required for entry into the club. Thanks to that, only 2 new students were allowed entry, Mark and Olivia. Learning that Mark is from a family of blacksmiths, Shin requests a special kind of sword to be made for him, so he can utilize the sword enchant he is using to the maximum. In the meanwhile, the security force is investigating Strom as a possible suspect in Kurt's case. Thanks to their plan, Strom blows his cover. While still pretending that they are not onto him, the 2 security force members lead Strom into an ambush. Unfortunately for them, he appears to be more than capable of handling himself. A fight breaks out, and the arena where they ambush Strom gets blown open. As it happens, Shin and his classmates were passing nearby the place where the battle was taking place. Getting dragged into it, Shin ends up facing against Strom. He turns out to be a very capable magician on his own, being able to fight back against Shin for a while. During the fight, Shin happens to break off Strom's blindfold, revealing that his eyes are red just like those of a demonoid. Confused as to why Strom is a demonoid who is still capable of reasoning, Strom explains that his reason did change quite a bit. For example, he no longer thinks anything of killing or using humans for his own entertainment. While talking, Shin is able to prepare a devastating spell. Strom notices the spell a bit too late as Shin unleashes it upon him. After the blinding light and an explosion, there is no trace left of him. The new Knight Commander, Dominic, and the captain of the Court Magic Division, Rupert, both come to assist their security force, only to find that Shin has resolved the matter already. They thank him for his help, questioning him about the nature of the devastating magic he just used. Shin wonders if his magic really was responsible for the explosion that happened when it was unleashed. In another place, Strom is recovering with heavy injuries. It turns out he used the explosive magic to launch himself away from Shin's spell. Planning ahead, he wants to take any precaution necessary so Shin would not get in his way again. Shin is still bothered by the fact that an explosion happened in the midst of his spell. Reasoning that Strom is probably still alive, he confides his worries to August. Concerned about those news, August tells Shin to order whatever he wants from the smithy and the royal family will fund him, so he can be properly prepared for the future. In the Blusphia Empire, the king is making preparations to attack the Urshide kingdom, following the advice of his informant, Zest. After placing his order for the sword, Shin decides to get an accessory for Sicily. He picks out a ring for her that he enchants with protective magic as an additional measure to keep her safe. In order to make everyone from his study group stronger, Shin decides to teach them his way of using magic. Starting off, he shows them how important it is to have control over a large amount of magic power by displaying how much he is able to control, since being able to control more magic power at once will make their spells more potent. This is the first thing he makes them work on. In the Blusphia Empire, a woman named Miliet is tending to Shram's wounds while informing him of the Empire's intentions. From their conversation, it is clear that Zest is working for Shram all along. In order to motivate Shin's classmates, Merlin shows them that he is able to use the same gate magic as Shin, so they would not think that his spells are something they could never achieve. The sword that Shin has ordered is also finished, allowing him to easily switch out the blades should they get broken due to his magic. August reveals to everyone that a war is most likely coming, considering the Blusphia Empire has started mobilizing their troops. Even though Merlin did not want Shin to become a military asset for the kingdom, Shin decides to help them on his own accord, wanting to protect his friends. Once Blussia's army gets close to the Urshide kingdom, they realize that the intel they got from Zest was false. Not only that, but their capital suddenly gets attacked by a horde of demons. Reasoning that it was all a ploy to lure out his soldiers, the king of Blusphia orders a full retreat, with the highest priority to defeat the demons. Hey, thank you for staying all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It takes only a second, but it means everything to us. Have a great day and see you in the next video.